My beloved child, prepare your heart. Here is the reason these words stopped you today. Pack your bags. Your life will never be the same. Do not dismiss them as a figure of speech. Do not rush past this moment as though it were meant for someone else. I have drawn your attention here because I am calling you to be ready. Not merely for a change of circumstances, but for a change of heart, a change of perspective, and a new season that will require you to trust me in ways you never have before. You did not arrive here by accident. Before you pressed play, I already knew the questions weighing on your mind, the battles hidden behind your smile, and the silent prayers you have carried for so long. I have seen your weariness. I have watched you wrestle with uncertainty, wondering if the season you are in will ever end. You have waited for doors to open, for answers to come, for hope to feel real again. Even when you felt forgotten, I was quietly preparing what you could not yet see. That is why I am asking you to be ready. Sometimes when I begin something new, it does not look the way you expected. Before new ground is reached, old ground must often be left behind. Before fresh joy is embraced, familiar fears must be surrendered. There are burdens you have carried for too long, disappointments that have convinced you to stop expecting good things, and habits of worry that have quietly become your companions. My child, you cannot carry every weight from yesterday into the tomorrow. I am preparing for you. If you choose to move past this message without listening, you may miss the invitation to examine what your heart has been holding on to. You may overlook the courage I am offering you to release fear, bitterness, or hopelessness. But if you remain, if you open your heart to my voice, you may begin to see that I have not abandoned your story. You may discover that the waiting has not been empty, the delays have not been meaningless, and the road ahead is not one you must walk alone. Beloved, I know you have wondered whether change is still possible. I know there were moments when you questioned whether your prayers had reached me. Hear this truth. I have been near every step of the way. I have not forgotten your name, your dreams, or the promises that continue to shape your journey. Even in seasons that felt still, I was working in ways beyond your sight, strengthening you for what lies ahead. So when I say, pack your bags, hear the deeper invitation. Prepare your spirit. Release what has held you back. Be willing to leave behind despair, resentment, and the belief that tomorrow must look like yesterday. I am inviting you into renewed trust, renewed hope, and renewed purpose. Stay with me now. Listen carefully, because what follows is not simply about where you are going. It is about who you are becoming. This is the beginning of a message that calls you to walk forward with faith, ready to receive what I have been preparing for you all along. My child, something inside you has been changing. For longer than you realize, you have tried to keep moving like everything is normal, but your heart no longer feels fully connected to the life around you. The places that once felt comfortable now leave you feeling unsettled. After the excitement fades, conversations that used to hold your attention feel empty in ways you cannot explain. Even when you try to rest, your spirit keeps searching for something deeper. You have asked yourself why nothing feels the same anymore, and part of you worries that something is wrong with you. But I need you to understand that this feeling is not punishment. It is preparation. I have been quietly leading you toward a new season, even while you were trying to hold together the old one. There are moments when I begin pulling my children away from environments they have outgrown spiritually and emotionally. It does not always happen through dramatic signs. Sometimes it begins with a gentle discomfort that keeps growing until you finally realize you cannot stay where you are forever. You may still love certain people, You may still appreciate parts of your current life, but deep inside, you already know your soul cannot settle there anymore. That realization has frightened you at times. You wonder what will happen if you let go of what feels familiar. You think about the security of what you already know, even if it no longer brings peace to your heart. Leaving behind an old season can feel painful because you spent so much time trying to survive it. You built routines there. You created memories there. Part of your identity became attached to it. But my child, not every place that sheltered you was meant to become your permanent home. I have seen how tired you have become, carrying responsibilities, disappointments, and silent worries that nobody fully understands. You kept telling yourself to hold on a little longer, hoping things would suddenly feel right again. Yet the more time passes, the more you feel this quiet pull inside your spirit telling you that change is coming. That feeling is not your imagination. It is me preparing your heart before I move your life. Right now, you do not need every answer. You do not need to see the entire road ahead before taking the next step with me. I know the unknown makes you nervous. I know you are afraid of making mistakes or losing things that still matter to you. But I would never call you forward without already preparing a place for you to arrive. The life ahead of you will require faith in ways your old life never did, but it will also bring a peace your current season has been unable to give you. My child, the restlessness inside you did not appear without reason. You have tried to calm it with distractions, routines, and familiar comforts, but nothing has fully quieted it. Even during moments when everything around you seemed stable, something inside your spirit kept whispering that your life was meant to move in a different direction. You noticed it during quiet evenings, when your thoughts became too loud to ignore. You felt it while smiling through conversations that no longer reached your heart the way they once did. There were moments when you looked around at your life and wondered why you still felt unsettled after working so hard to hold everything together. Listen to me carefully now. Do not mistake spiritual stirring for failure. What you are feeling is not emptiness without purpose. I have been awakening parts of your heart that became buried under survival, disappointment, and exhaustion. For a long time, you focused on getting through each day. You carried responsibilities that drained you emotionally, while still trying to remain strong for everyone around you. I saw how tired you became. I saw the hidden pressure you never explained to anyone, because you thought nobody would truly understand it. Yet even in those moments, I stayed close beside you. You keep asking why certain things no longer satisfy you. The answer is simple. My child, your spirit has started recognizing that you were created for more than maintenance and routine. There is a difference between existing and truly living. You have spent too much time shrinking your desires just to survive environments that slowly disconnected you from joy. Now your soul reacts whenever you try to settle for less than what I planted inside you. Do not run from this discomfort. Sit with it for a moment. Let it speak honestly to you. Some of the frustration you feel comes from staying connected to places, habits, and expectations that no longer match who you are becoming. That is why your heart feels divided. One part of you wants the safety of familiarity. Another part quietly longs for freedom, movement, and deeper purpose. I know this tension feels heavy at times, but it is often the beginning of transformation. I want you to stop apologizing for outgrowing things that no longer bring life into your spirit. Stop forcing yourself to remain where peace has already left. Open your heart and pay attention to what your soul has been trying to tell you. The restlessness is not there to torment you. It is there to wake you up before you spend years trapped inside a life that no longer reflects who you truly are. Come closer to me now. Breathe slowly and release the pressure to understand every detail immediately. You do not need to solve your entire future tonight. I am only asking you to acknowledge what your spirit already knows. Something is changing inside you, and this change is not meant to destroy your life. It is meant to lead you toward the one I prepared for you long ago. My child, some of the pain you carry comes from doors that never opened, no matter how hard you tried. You prayed over certain opportunities. You begged me to make situations work. You invested your energy, your emotions, and your hope into people and plans you believed would finally bring peace into your life. If these words are touching your heart right now, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so more souls can receive this message of hope. When those things collapsed or slipped away, you felt confused. Part of you even wondered if I had forgotten you. But I need you to hear me honestly now. Some doors stayed closed because I could see what you could not. You were looking at temporary relief while I was protecting your future. You saw potential in certain places that were never designed to hold your destiny. There were environments that slowly drained your spirit while convincing you to stay because they felt familiar. There were relationships you fought to keep alive, even after they started damaging your peace. I watched you carry heartbreak over things that would have eventually broken you in ways you were not prepared for. That is why I stepped in quietly and stopped certain paths from moving forward. At the time, it felt unfair to you. You questioned yourself constantly. You replayed conversations in your mind, searching for answers. You thought maybe you had failed. Maybe you were not good enough. Maybe you missed your chance. But my child, closed doors are not always rejection. Sometimes they are rescue wearing uncomfortable clothing. Sometimes my protection feels painful before it finally makes sense. I want you to stop measuring your worth by what didn't happen. Do not stand outside locked doors begging for access to places where your spirit would have slowly disappeared. Let go of the belief that every unanswered prayer was punishment. I know you cannot yet see the full picture, but I have been guiding you away from things that would have delayed your healing, weakened your faith, and buried the person you are becoming. Take a moment and look honestly at your life. Some of the things you once cried over no longer fit the version of you standing here today. The person you are becoming needs different surroundings, different priorities, and deeper peace. You are not losing your life, my child. You are leaving behind versions of it that could no longer carry your future. So stop forcing doors open with exhausted hands. Release the pressure to chase what keeps resisting your spirit. Trust me enough to believe that if I removed something, I already saw where that road would lead. There are better places ahead of you. There are people who will not require you to betray yourself just to be accepted. There are opportunities waiting that will not steal your peace in exchange for success. Let the closed doors remain closed. Do not return to them emotionally. Do not build your identity around what failed. Lift your head now and keep walking with me. I am not leading you backward into loss. I am leading you forward into a life that finally fits the soul I created inside you, Mitchell. You have been carrying a kind of exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. It is the heaviness that settles into your spirit when you stay too long in places that no longer nourish your heart. You kept telling yourself to be patient, to hold everything together, to keep adjusting and adapting, because you thought eventually the emptiness would disappear. But instead, you started feeling disconnected from yourself. You learned how to function while quietly losing pieces of your joy along the way. I watched you try to convince yourself that you were grateful enough, strong enough, disciplined enough to remain where you were. Yet every day became harder to ignore. Your smile started feeling rehearsed in certain rooms. Your energy faded around people who once felt comforting. Even moments that should have brought excitement began leaving you strangely numb after they passed. You questioned yourself because you did not understand why your heart could no longer fully rest where it used to belong. Listen to me now. Stop calling your spiritual exhaustion weakness. Stop blaming yourself for feeling drained in environments that have already completed their assignment in your life. Some places are meant to shelter you temporarily, while I shape you, heal you, and prepare you. But when you stay past the season I intended, your spirit begins carrying weight. It was never designed to hold permanently. You have spent too much time forcing yourself to fit inside spaces that no longer reflect who you are becoming. That pressure has affected you more deeply than you realize. It is difficult to hear my voice clearly when your soul feels crowded by constant internal conflict. Part of you knows change is necessary. Another part fears disappointing people, losing stability, or stepping into uncertainty. The tension has followed you quietly for months, maybe even years. I want you to pause and be honest with yourself tonight. Are you truly living, or have you only been surviving? There is a difference, my child. Survival teaches you how to endure pain. Living allows your spirit to breathe again. You were never created to spend your entire life emotionally trapped inside situations that slowly silence your peace. Do not misunderstand me. Outgrowing something does not always mean it was evil or meaningless. Some chapters were necessary for your growth. Some people helped you through difficult seasons, but you cannot keep shrinking your spirit just to preserve comfort that no longer carries life inside it. Open your hands now. Release the fear of what others may think. Release the guilt attached to moving forward. Come closer to me and let me show you who you are becoming. I'm not asking you to abandon wisdom or move recklessly. I am asking you to stop ignoring the quiet truth inside your spirit. Your heart has been aching because deep down, you already know your life cannot remain where it is forever. Trust me enough to admit that honestly, once you do, healing can finally begin. My child, comfort can become dangerous when it keeps you from growing. I know there are parts of your life that feel familiar enough to stay in, even if they no longer bring peace into your spirit. Familiarity has a way of convincing you that staying still is safer than trusting me with change. That is why you have wrestled so much internally. One side of you longs for something new, while the other side clings tightly to what feels predictable. I have watched you hesitate at the edge of decisions because you fear what might happen if you finally let go. You think about everything you could lose. You replay worst-case scenarios inside your mind, late at night. You wonder whether you are truly capable of handling what comes next. But I need you to understand something important. Growth rarely begins inside perfect comfort. Most of the deeper work I do in your life starts when I gently pull you away from what has become too small for your calling. You keep asking me for clarity while holding tightly to situations that cloud your vision. Open your heart now and listen carefully. Some comfort zones are quietly draining your courage. They keep you surrounded by routines that feel safe, while your spirit slowly loses its fire. You were not created to spend your life hiding inside emotional safety nets that prevent you from becoming who I designed you to be. I know change feels risky to you. I know uncertainty makes your chest tighten with fear sometimes. Yet look back honestly at your journey. Many of the moments that shaped you most deeply began with discomfort. Some of the blessings you treasure now were born from seasons you once begged me to remove. At the time, you could not see what I was building. You only saw inconvenience, delay, or loss. but I was creating strength inside you that comfort never could have produced. Do not resist me when I begin loosening your grip on things that no longer align with your future. Let me lead you. Stop trying to negotiate with seasons that have already ended. You cannot carry your next chapter while dragging old emotional baggage behind you. Set it down gently. Breathe for a moment. Allow yourself to admit that part of your fear comes from not wanting to start over emotionally. But listen closely, my child. You are not starting from nothing. You are moving forward with wisdom, experience, discernment, and strength that you did not possess before. I have been preparing you quietly through every difficult season you survived, even now while you feel uncertain. I am already walking ahead of you, clearing paths you cannot yet see. Take my hand and stop measuring your future by the comfort of your current surroundings. Leave a comment below, sharing what part of this message spoke deepest to you, and share this video with someone who needs encouragement today. There is more waiting for you than the life you have been settling for. Trust me enough to move. When I ask you to move, your peace will return once you stop fighting the direction your spirit already knows is necessary. My child, there were seasons when you thought nothing was changing because you could not see movement with your eyes. You prayed, waited, hoped, and still woke up to the same routines, the same unanswered questions, and the same uncertainty pressing against your heart. Some days felt so quiet that you wondered if I had stepped away from your life entirely. You tried to remain faithful, but deep inside discouragement slowly crept into your thoughts. You began asking yourself whether your waiting even mattered anymore. Come closer and listen carefully to me now. Silence does not mean absence. Just because you could not see doors opening does not mean I was doing nothing. I have been preparing things for you in places your eyes could not reach yet. While you were worrying about timing, I was arranging details. While you were grieving delays, I was protecting you from arriving too early. There are blessings that require preparation on both sides. Sometimes, I must shape the opportunity before I place you inside it. Other times, I must shape you first. You often measure progress by visible change, but many of the most important transformations happen quietly beneath the surface. Think about how roots grow underground before fruit appears above it. In the same way, I have been building strength inside you that nobody else can fully see yet. Your patience, your discernment, your emotional endurance, your ability to hear my voice more clearly during lonely seasons, all of this has been part of your preparation. I know the waiting frustrated you. There were nights when you felt forgotten, watching other people move forward while your own life seemed frozen in place. You questioned whether you had missed your moment. You feared that time was slipping away from you. But my child, stop comparing your journey to what others are displaying publicly. You do not know the full weight they carry, and they do not know the work I am doing inside you. I want you to stop calling your hidden season wasted time. Some of the greatest preparation in your life happened when nobody applauded. You noticed you, or understood what you were enduring. Those quiet battles shaped your spirit in ways success alone never could. Sit with me for a moment and look back honestly. You are not the same person you were a year ago. Your heart sees differently now. Your spirit responds differently now. Even your prayers have changed, so breathe deeply and release the fear that nothing is happening. I am still working even in silence. I am still arranging what you cannot yet see. Trust my timing instead of forcing your own. Let me finish preparing what belongs to you. The life ahead of you requires a stronger, wiser, and more grounded version of you. And that is exactly what I have been building during the hidden seasons. You almost gave up on. My child, some of the hardest pain you carried came from watching people slowly drift away from you. You did not always understand why certain relationships change. There were people you prayed would stay forever. You invested love, loyalty, time, and trust into them. You imagined they would walk beside you through every chapter ahead. So when distance started growing between you, it wounded your heart more deeply than you admitted to anyone else. I saw the confusion you felt when conversations became colder. I saw you replay moments in your mind, trying to understand what changed. Part of you blamed yourself. You wondered if you had become too emotional, too distant, too difficult, or somehow not enough. But I need you to stop carrying responsibility for every ending that happened in your life. Some people drifted because their assignment in your journey was complete, even if your heart wanted more time. Listen to me honestly now. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to remain in every season of it. Some people are present to help you survive one chapter, but they are not prepared to walk with you into the next one. The truth hurts because you loved them sincerely. You wanted consistency. You wanted permanence. Yet sometimes I remove people quietly because their presence can no longer support the direction I am leading you toward. Do not chase relationships that require you to abandon your peace just to keep them alive. Stop exhausting yourself, trying to earn closeness from people who have already emotionally stepped away. I know rejection cuts deeply into your spirit. I know abandonment awakens, fears you tried hard to bury, but you must understand something important. My child, every person who leaves is not taking your value with them. Some departures protected you in ways you could not recognize at the time. There were people connected to old versions of you that could not grow alongside who you are becoming. Now, others carried wounds, habits, or mindsets that would have slowly damaged your future if they had remained close. I know you still miss certain people. Sometimes I know there are moments when memories return unexpectedly and leave your chest feeling heavy. Bring that pain to me, honestly. Do not hide it, but also stop romanticizing seasons that were quietly draining your spirit. Ask yourself whether those relationships truly brought peace into your life, or whether you became addicted to the comfort of familiarity. There is a difference. Some connections survive only because you keep carrying all the emotional weight alone. Release the people you cannot force to stay. Open your hands instead of tightening your grip. Let me guide the relationships meant for your future. The right people will not require you to betray your growth, silence your spirit, or constantly beg for emotional presence. Trust me enough to believe that who remains in your life after this season will align more deeply with the person you are becoming, not just the person you used to be. My child, I know why you hesitate when you feel me calling you forward. The unknown has always frightened the human heart. Even when a situation becomes exhausting, there is still comfort in recognizing the walls around you. You know the routines there. You know the disappointments there. You know what to expect when each day begins. And strangely, familiarity can start feeling safer than freedom, even when your spirit quietly aches inside it. I have watched you wrestle with decisions in silence. You imagine what could go wrong if you finally release what no longer fits your life. Your mind drifts toward loss before it imagines possibility. You think about the people who may not understand your growth. You think about the security you could lose. You wonder whether you are truly prepared for what waits on the other side of obedience. Some nights fear has spoken so loudly inside you that it almost convinced you to settle permanently for a life that no longer carries peace. Come closer and listen carefully to me now. Fear becomes powerful when you keep feeding it with imagined disasters instead of trusting my guidance. I am not asking you to pretend uncertainty feels easy. I know transition stretches your emotions. I know there are moments when your chest tightens, simply thinking about change, but do not allow fear to make permanent decisions for your future. Fear only shows you what could fall apart. I show you what can finally come alive. You have already survived seasons you once thought would destroy you completely. Remember that there were heartbreaks you believed you would never recover from. There were nights when your mind felt crowded with anxiety and exhaustion, yet somehow I carried you through all of it. You are stronger now than you were before those storms touched your life. Stop speaking to yourself as if you are still fragile in the same ways. I want you to release the belief that safety and purpose are always found in the same place. Sometimes the life I prepared for you exists beyond the comfort you keep clinging to. Open your hand slowly now. Stop gripping old seasons so tightly that you leave no room for what I am trying to place into your life. Let your spirit breathe again. Let yourself imagine something larger than survival. Do not rush ahead recklessly, but do not hide behind fear either. Sit with me in honesty. Admit what scares you. If you feel the Holy Spirit stirring in your spirit through these words, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment to help this message reach more hearts. Bring me your questions. Instead of burying them beneath fake confidence, I can guide a willing heart, my child. What I cannot do is force movement from someone determined to stay emotionally trapped inside old seasons forever. Take one step toward trust today. Not 10 steps, not the entire journey, just one honest step. Sometimes freedom begins quietly with a single moment where you finally admit that your current life no longer fits the future growing inside your spirit. My child, you have been carrying more than most people realize. There are burdens sitting quietly on your shoulders that nobody fully sees because you became skilled at hiding your exhaustion behind ordinary conversations and daily responsibilities. You kept showing up. You kept answering messages, paying bills, helping others, smiling politely, and trying to remain dependable even while your inner world felt heavy. Over time, you stopped asking whether you were okay because survival became your normal routine. I saw every moment you forced yourself to keep going after your spirit already felt drained. I watched you lie awake at night, replaying worries you could not silence. Your mind became crowded with pressure, unanswered questions, financial stress, emotional disappointment, and fears about the future. Some days, you woke up already exhausted before the day had even begun, yet you still pushed yourself forward because you thought resting would somehow mean failure. Come sit with me for a moment and stop pretending you are not tired. You do not need to perform strength in front of me. I already know where your heart feels worn thin. I know how deeply certain disappointments affected you, even when you acted like they did not matter. I know there are wounds you never explained because you feared becoming a burden to others, but my child, carrying everything alone was never my desire for you. You have spent too much time trying to hold together parts of your life that are pulling against your peace. Your body continued moving, but your spirit quietly begged for rest. That kind of exhaustion reaches deeper than physical tiredness. It touches your emotions, your thoughts, your hope, and even your ability to dream about the future. There were moments when life felt like a mountain made of stone, standing directly in front of you. Every single morning, I do not want you to keep living, as though your worth depends on how much pain you can silently endure. Lay your burdens down here with me. Stop carrying pressure that was never assigned to your shoulders in the first place. Some things you are trying to control belong in my hands, not yours. Release them slowly. Breathe deeply. Allow yourself to admit that you need help, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Rest is not weakness. Needing peace does not make you irresponsible. Even your heart needs room to recover from the battles it has survived. Let me quiet the noise inside your thoughts for a while. Step away from the constant pressure to have every answer immediately. You are not failing because you feel exhausted. You are human, my child, and humans grow weary when they carry too much for too long. Stay near me now. Do not run back toward distraction the moment your emotions begin surfacing honestly. Healing often begins the moment you stop pretending you are fine, and I promise you this. I will not shame you for being tired. I only want you to stop suffering in silence while believing you must carry the entire weight of your life alone. My child, there is something I need you to notice honestly about your life. You have spent so much time trying to create stability that you slowly stopped asking yourself whether your spirit still felt alive inside the life you built. Comfort became your goal because you were tired of pain, tired of uncertainty, tired of emotional chaos. I understand why you wanted peace. After everything you survived, safety felt precious to you. But somewhere along the way, comfort started replacing purpose, and your soul began feeling the weight of it quietly. You learned how to function inside routines that no longer inspired you. You woke up, handled responsibilities, completed tasks, and repeated the same cycles while convincing yourself this was enough. Yet deep inside your spirit kept whispering that something was missing. There were moments when you caught yourself staring into silence after busy days, wondering why your heart still felt disconnected. You could not explain it fully because nothing looked completely wrong on the outside, but inwardly, your soul felt dimmer than it once did. Come closer and listen carefully now. There is a difference between living peacefully and emotionally disappearing inside predictable routines. Comfort can become a soft prison when it keeps you from growing, risking, loving, creating healing, and trusting me more deeply. Some people spend years inside lives that feel stable, but leave their spirits starving quietly beneath the surface. I never created you only to maintain existence until your days pass by. Unnoticed, I want you to stop confusing numbness with peace. Real peace brings life into your spirit. It creates room for joy, clarity, purpose, and connection. Numbness simply teaches you how to avoid pain while also avoiding deeper living. You were made for more than emotional survival. There are dreams, gifts, relationships, and experiences inside your future that require your heart to wake up again. Think about the version of yourself that once believed life could still surprise you. That person is not gone. My child, buried underneath disappointment and exhaustion, your spirit still carries desire for something real. That longing you feel sometimes when you imagine a different future is not foolishness. It is your soul recognizing that you were not designed to remain emotionally asleep forever. So stop settling for routines that leave your heart empty. Stop silencing the parts of yourself that still hope for something meaningful. Sit with me honestly and ask yourself difficult questions. Does your current life allow your spirit to breathe, or does it simply keep you occupied enough to ignore your deeper hunger? Be brave enough to answer truthfully. I am not asking you to destroy your life recklessly searching for excitement. I am asking you to stop abandoning your soul in exchange for temporary comfort. Let me lead you toward a life where your spirit feels awake again. You deserve more than survival, my child. You deserve to feel fully alive inside the purpose I created specifically for you, my child. One of the clearest signs that a season is ending is the growing discomfort you feel trying to remain where you once felt settled. You have noticed it quietly building inside you. Things that used to excite you no longer carry the same meaning. Places that once felt familiar now leave your spirit strangely restless. Even conversations have started feeling different, because your heart no longer connects with certain environments the way it once did. At first, you tried to ignore these feelings because change seemed inconvenient and uncomfortable. But the more time passes, the harder it becomes to silence what your spirit already knows. I need you to pay attention instead of dismissing these shifts as random emotions. Your soul recognizes transitions before your mind fully understands them. That is why confusion sometimes increases right before major change arrives. You begin feeling disconnected from old patterns before the new direction becomes visible. It can feel unsettling standing between two seasons without fully belonging to either one. Yet this in-between place is often where I prepare your heart most deeply. You have been trying to revive things that no longer carry life for you. I saw you returning emotionally to situations that already lost their peace, hoping somehow they would feel different again. But my child, when a season has fulfilled its purpose, forcing yourself to remain there only creates more exhaustion. Stop trying to resurrect chapters. I already closed gently in your life. Let them rest. Notice how your desires have started changing. Notice how your tolerance for certain environments has weakened. Even your prayers sound different now. You are asking deeper questions because your spirit is growing beyond what once satisfied you. That growth may feel lonely at times because not everyone around you understands what is happening inside you. Some people may even resist the changes they sense in you because your growth reminds them of areas where they remain stuck. Do not let guilt pull you backward emotionally. You are allowed to outgrow seasons without hating them. You are allowed to acknowledge that certain places helped shape you, while still recognizing they cannot carry your future. Open your heart and stop fighting the transition. Resistance only increases the pain of change. Come sit with me quietly for a moment and release the pressure to understand every detail immediately. You do not need complete clarity before trusting what your spirit already feels. Some endings arrive softly before they become visible externally. Trust the shift you sense inside yourself. Take a second to hit the like button and subscribe if this message is strengthening your faith, and comment. Amen. If you receive it, I have been preparing you for this longer than you realize. Your current season is ending because your life is making room for something new. Stop mourning every closed chapter as if loss is the only thing ahead of you. There are fresh beginnings waiting beyond this transition. There is growth, healing purpose, and deeper peace waiting on the other side of your obedience. Let go gently. Now, do not fear what comes next. I will walk with you through every part of this change. My child, I know how frustrating the waiting has been for you. There were moments when you prayed with complete sincerity, believing things would finally move forward, only to watch another door remain closed or another opportunity slip through your hands. You tried to stay hopeful, but disappointment slowly began settling into your spirit. Some nights, you sat quietly asking me questions. You were almost afraid to say out loud. You wondered if I heard you at all. You wondered whether your life had somehow fallen behind, while everyone else seemed to keep moving forward. Come closer now, and let me speak gently into those fears. The delays in your life were never punishment. They were protection, preparation, and timing, working together in ways you could not fully see. I know you wanted immediate answers, because pain makes waiting feel unbearable. But if I had given you certain things too early, they would have crushed parts of you that were not ready. Yet, some blessings required deeper emotional strength than you realized. Some opportunities demand wisdom that can only be built slowly over time. You kept focusing on the closed door while I was paying attention to the condition of your heart. There were areas inside you that still needed healing, before you could safely carry what you were asking for. I was teaching you discernment in the waiting. I was teaching you patience, endurance, and trust beneath the surface of your frustration. None of that growth felt exciting while you were living through it, but it mattered more than you know now. Look back honestly for a moment. The version of you standing here today understands things your younger self could not have handled wisely. You see people differently now. You recognize warning signs more clearly. Your priorities have shifted. Even your prayers carry more depth because suffering softened parts of your spirit that once depended too heavily on control. I want you to stop interpreting delay as rejection. Stop assuming silence means abandonment. Some things took longer because your future required careful preparation, not rushed arrival. If I moved it too quickly, you would have entered situations emotionally unprepared, spiritually distracted, and vulnerable to choices that could have damaged your peace deeply. Release the pressure to compare your timeline with anyone else's journey. What belongs to you does not need to be forced through panic, desperation, or exhaustion. Trust my pacing, even when it stretches your patience. I know exactly where your life is headed, and I have not lost sight of you for a single moment. Sit with me quietly and let your heart breathe again. You are not behind, forgotten, or overlooked. The waiting season shaped you in ways success alone never could. One day you will look back and realize that some of the delays you cried over were actually the greatest acts of love and protection I ever gave you, my child. I know how exhausting it feels to carry faith and fear in the same heart at the same time. Part of you wants to trust me fully. You want to believe that your future is secure in my hands, and that everything happening now is leading somewhere meaningful. Yet another part of you keeps replaying worst-case scenarios late at night. Fear slips quietly into your thoughts and starts asking difficult questions. What if things do not work out? What if you fail? What if you step forward and everything falls apart? You have battled these thoughts silently more times than anyone realizes. Some days, your faith feels steady and peaceful. Other days, anxiety rises like waves inside your chest, making even small decisions feel heavy. I have seen you trying to appear calm outwardly, while inwardly wrestling with uncertainty. You kept asking yourself whether real faith should feel stronger than this. But listen carefully, my child. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is choosing to keep moving, even while fear still whispers nearby. I never expected you to become emotionless before trusting me. I understand your humanity completely. I know your past disappointments shaped some of these fears. Certain wounds taught you to expect loss before joy, rejection, before acceptance, heartbreak before peace. That history affected your spirit more deeply than you sometimes admit. But I want you to stop allowing old pain to define your future before it even arrives. Come sit with me. Honestly, for a moment, stop pretending fear does not exist. Bring it into the light instead of hiding it behind forced confidence. Speak your worries openly to me. I already know them, but your heart needs the freedom of honesty. Fear grows louder in secrecy. It weakens when you place it before me without shame. You keep waiting for certainty before taking steps forward, but certainty is rarely how faith grows. Trust develops gradually, while you walk beside me through uncertainty. Think about all the times you survived situations you once believed would destroy you. At the beginning of those seasons, you felt terrified too. Yet somehow, I carried you through each one. Remember that when fear tries, convincing you that you are too weak for what lies ahead, do not allow your imagination to build prisons around your future. Fear loves creating mountains out of moments that have not even happened yet. Step away from those thoughts. Breathe deeply and return your attention to my voice. Instead, I am not leading you toward destruction. I am leading you toward growth, healing wisdom, and deeper peace. Take my hand now and stop demanding perfect clarity before you trust me. You already have enough light for the next step. Walk with me through the uncertainty instead of standing frozen at the edge of it. Your faith does not need to be flawless to move forward. It only needs to remain willing. My child, one of the reasons you have felt so overwhelmed is because you keep pressuring yourself to understand the entire future before taking the next step. You sit quietly with your thoughts trying to solve every possible outcome in advance. Your mind races through questions about timing, finances, relationships, stability, and whether you are truly capable of handling what lies ahead. Sometimes, the weight of needing certainty becomes so heavy that you freeze emotionally before you even begin moving. Come sit with me for a moment and release that pressure from your shoulders. I never asked you to carry the burden of knowing everything ahead of time. I never expected you to map every detail of your life perfectly before trusting me. You keep believing that clarity must come first and peace will follow afterward. But often peace arrives while you are walking beside me, through uncertainty, not before it. I know your desire for control comes from places of pain. There were seasons when I expected loss caught you off guard. There were moments when people disappointed. Your plans collapsed suddenly, and stability disappeared faster than you imagined possible. Those experiences taught you to overthink, because part of you believes preparation can prevent heartbreak. But my child, trying to control every outcome is exhausting your spirit far more than you realize. You do not need to carry tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. Stay here with me in today. Breathe deeply and let your thoughts slow down for a moment. I want you to notice how much energy you spend worrying about situations that have not even happened. Yet, fear keeps asking you for answers I never intended you to have all at once. Trust does not work that way. Trust grows step by step, conversation by conversation, season by season. Think about how many times situations you never could have fully prepared for. When those moments arrived, I gave you strength in real time. I guided you through confusion you thought would drown you. I opened doors when you believed everything was falling apart. You are still here because my hand remained on your life, even when your understanding was limited. Stop delaying your growth while waiting for complete certainty. Open your heart to me instead. Ask me for wisdom, not total control. Help carry this word further by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with a friend who is walking through a similar season. Ask me for courage to move forward, even when some details remain hidden. I will guide you one step at a time, my child. You are not supposed to carry the entire road inside your mind before the journey even begins. Release the need to understand everything immediately. Let me teach you how to walk through uncertainty without losing your peace. The future ahead of you does not require perfect knowledge. It requires a willing heart that stays close enough to hear my voice when it is time to move. My child, the moments before major change often feel far more confusing than peaceful. That is something many people do not understand. You expected clarity to arrive like bright sunlight breaking through dark clouds, but instead, you found yourself standing in emotional tension, questioning everything around you. One day, you feel hopeful about the future. The next day, uncertainty presses heavily against your thoughts again. This inner instability has frustrated you because you assumed transformation would feel cleaner and easier than this. But listen carefully to me now. The stretching you feel inside your spirit is not proof that something is wrong. It is often evidence that something is shifting beneath the surface. Right before new seasons begin, old patterns start losing their hold on you. Familiar routines no longer comfort you the same way. Conversations that once distracted you begin feeling shallow. Even your priorities slowly rearrange themselves without you fully understanding why. I know this stage feels uncomfortable. You are standing between who you used to be and who you are becoming. And that space can feel lonely sometimes. Part of your spirit senses that change is near. Yet your circumstances may still look mostly the same externally. That contrast creates tension inside your heart. You wonder whether you are imagining things. You question whether your restlessness has any real meaning. But my child, do not dismiss what your spirit has been sensing quietly for months. Now, come sit with me honestly and stop demanding instant clarity from yourself. Growth is rarely dramatic while it is happening. Most transformation unfolds slowly, like dawn arriving before sunrise fully appears. You do not need to panic just because everything feels unfamiliar emotionally. Some confusion appears when old identities begin falling away. You are shedding parts of yourself that no longer belong in your future, and that process naturally feels uncomfortable at times. I want you to stop reaching backward every time transition begins. Stop trying to recreate old comfort simply because the unknown feels intimidating. The life ahead of you cannot fully arrive while you remain emotionally anchored to versions of yourself that have already outgrown their season. Trust the shift even before you fully understand it. Pay attention to what your soul has been craving lately. You desire deeper peace. Now, not shallow distractions. You want authenticity instead of appearances. You are becoming more sensitive to environments that drain your spirit. None of this is accidental. I have been preparing your heart carefully for what comes next. Stay close to me during this season of transition. Do not isolate yourself inside fear and overthinking. Invite me into your uncertainty instead. Let me steady your thoughts when emotions become overwhelming. What feels confusing now will make sense later, my child. The shift is already happening, even if you cannot fully see it yet, my child. One of the quietest pains you have carried lately is the feeling of becoming unfamiliar to your own old life. You started noticing it slowly. Certain conversations no longer satisfy your spirit the way they once did. Environments that used to feel exciting now leave you emotionally drained. Even the version of yourself that once fit naturally into those spaces has started fading. And because this change happened gradually, you sometimes question whether something is wrong with you. Come closer and listen to me carefully now. Nothing is wrong with you. You are growing, and growth often feels lonely before it feels beautiful. When your spirit begins changing deeply, you naturally stop connecting with things that once kept you comfortable. The shift can feel painful because part of you still remembers the safety of your old identity. You knew how to survive there. You knew how to fit in there. But your soul has been stretching beyond those old walls for a long time now. I know the loneliness has surprised you. You expected growth to feel empowering all the time. But instead, there are moments when it feels like standing alone in a crowded room. Some people no longer understand your silence. Others feel uncomfortable with your boundaries because your healing changed the way you respond to certain behaviors. You are not as willing to abandon yourself for acceptance anymore, and that difference affects relationships more than you realize. Do not rush backwards simply because loneliness makes you uncomfortable. Sit with this season honestly instead of escaping it through distractions. I know part of you misses who you used to be, because that version of you felt more connected socially. But remember this, my child, that older version of you was carrying pain quietly. just to remain accepted in places that no longer fit your spirit. You are not losing yourself. You are discovering yourself beneath layers of survival, fear, and emotional compromise. Growth requires separation sometimes. A seed buried underground must break apart before anything living rises from it. In the same way, parts of your old identity are falling away because they cannot carry the life I am preparing for you. Take a deep breath now and stop apologizing for changing. Stop forcing yourself to shrink emotionally just to preserve old dynamics that no longer bring peace into your life. Let yourself become unfamiliar to the people who only loved the version of you that stayed silent, overextended, or were emotionally available at the cost of your own well-being. Stay near me during this transition. Bring me your loneliness instead of hiding it behind false strength. I am not leading you into isolation forever. I am guiding you toward deeper alignment, healthier connections, and a stronger sense of who you truly are. Trust this process even when it feels uncomfortable. The loneliness will not last forever, but the growth happening inside you right now will shape the rest of your life. My child, there is a reason your heart keeps reaching towards something beyond the life you currently see. Even when you try to ignore it, the feeling returns quietly. You sense it during ordinary moments, when your thoughts drift somewhere deeper. You feel it when certain dreams refuse to disappear, no matter how practical you try to become. Part of you keeps longing for life that feels more meaningful, more alive, more connected to purpose. And sometimes that longing confuses you because you cannot fully explain where it comes from. Listen to me carefully. Now I planted that desire inside you intentionally. Your spirit recognizes that you were created for more than simply surviving each day without direction. There are gifts, callings, relationships, and experiences attached to your future that your heart has already started sensing before your eyes can fully see them. That inner pull is not foolishness. It is not selfish ambition. It is your soul responding to the life I prepared for you long before you understood it yourself. You have spent years trying to be realistic about your limitations. You lowered expectations after disappointments wounded you. You convinced yourself not to hope too deeply because past heartbreak taught you how painful unmet desires can become. Yet despite all of that, something inside you still whispers that your story is not finished. That quiet voice keeps calling you forward even after difficult seasons tried convincing you to settle permanently. For less, I want you to stop dismissing those deeper desires simply because they feel intimidating. Stop shrinking your dreams until they fit comfortably inside your fears. Come sit with me honestly and pay attention to what your spirit keeps returning to repeatedly. There are longings inside you, connected to purpose, not fantasy. You would not feel this persistent pull toward growth, healing, creativity, peace, or impact if I had not already written those possibilities into your future. It doesn't mean the road ahead will always feel easy. Bigger callings often require deeper surrender. You cannot carry your future properly while clinging tightly to every familiar comfort from your past. That is why this season feels so transitional emotionally. Your spirit is stretching toward what is ahead, while part of your heart still fears leaving behind what feels safe. Do not allow fear to silence the vision growing quietly inside you. Feed your spirit with trust instead of constant doubt. Open your heart wider and let yourself believe that your life still carries purpose beyond what you have already experienced. You are not too late, too damaged, or too ordinary for the plans I have placed over your future. Take my hand now and stop speaking to yourself like your best days already passed. If your spirit is saying yes to this invitation, like this video, subscribe for more messages like this, and leave a comment so others know they are not alone. Lift your eyes beyond your current limitations. There is more waiting for you than you can presently imagine, and your spirit keeps sensing it, because I have already started calling you toward it. My child, I know how deeply the waiting has affected your heart. There were seasons when you kept hoping things would finally become clear, only to wake up facing the same uncertainty again. You prayed for direction, signs, movement, relief, and yet so much remained unanswered for longer than you expected. At times, the silence felt heavier than the struggle itself. You could endure hardship more easily if you at least understood where your life was going. But the unknown kept stretching your spirit in ways that left you emotionally exhausted. I watched you sit alone with thoughts you could not explain to anyone else. You smiled through conversations while inwardly carrying questions that never seemed to settle. Some nights you stared at the ceiling, replaying every possibility in your mind, trying to predict what would happen next. Your heart wanted reassurance, but instead, you felt suspended between hope and uncertainty. That place can feel incredibly lonely. My child, especially when you have been waiting far longer than you ever imagined you would. Come sit with me now and stop treating your waiting season like wasted time. I know you wanted quick answers because your heart was tired of carrying tension. But some truths can only grow slowly inside a person. Immediate clarity would not have produced the same depth, wisdom, and emotional maturity forming inside you. Now, waiting has a way of revealing what truly lies inside the heart. It exposes fears, attachments, expectations, and hidden wounds that busy seasons often cover up. You kept asking me for answers while I was quietly shaping your spirit beneath the surface. I was teaching you how to remain grounded, even when circumstances refused to cooperate with your plans. I was helping you separate your identity from outcomes you could not control. None of this felt comforting while you lived through it, but your waiting carried purpose beyond what you could see. Do not let delayed answers convince you that I abandoned you. Silence is not absence. There were moments where I protected your future simply by not allowing certain things to happen prematurely. Other times, I was preparing your heart for blessings that required a stronger version of you than the one standing there at the beginning of this journey. Breathe deeply now and stop punishing yourself for feeling weary. Waiting stretches even the strongest hearts. Bring your frustration honestly to me, instead of hiding it behind fake patience. I can handle your questions. I can handle your tears. What I want is your trust in the middle of uncertainty, not perfection. Stay close to me during this season. Do not rush ahead, trying to force clarity before it's time. You are not forgotten in the waiting, my child. Even now, things are moving quietly beyond your sight. Answers are forming. Doors are shifting. Your life is not standing still nearly as much as you think it is. My child, the way you trusted me in the past cannot fully carry you into the season ahead. That is why your faith has been changing lately. Before you trusted me mostly when life felt manageable, when answers arrived quickly, or when circumstances gave you enough reassurance to feel secure. But now you are walking through situations where control keeps slipping from your hands, and it has forced you into deeper dependence than you ever expected. I know this process has unsettled you emotionally. There were moments when you begged me to remove the uncertainty completely. You wanted clear direction, guaranteed outcomes, and immediate relief from the pressure building inside your thoughts. Instead, I kept asking you to stay close to me one day at a time. That frustrated part of you, because you wanted resolution while I was teaching surrender. Come closer now and listen carefully. Trust is not built through comfort alone. Some of the deepest faith grows inside seasons, where you must keep walking without seeing the full picture ahead. I understand how difficult that feels for you. Your mind naturally searches for stability. Your heart wants reassurance before taking risks, emotionally or spiritually. Yet the life I am preparing for you requires a different kind of trust than the one you relied on before. You are learning how to remain steady even when circumstances shift unexpectedly. You are learning how to breathe through uncertainty without collapsing into panic every time something changes. You are learning how to bring your fears to me instead of letting them quietly control your decisions. This growth may not look impressive outwardly, but it is transforming your spirit. From the inside, I want you to stop viewing dependence on me as weakness. The world praises self-sufficiency, but many people carry crushing pressure because they believe they must control everything alone. That is not the life I want for you. Lay down the exhausting need to predict every outcome. Release the belief that your safety depends entirely on your own ability to manage every detail perfectly. Sit with me honestly and notice how much stronger your spirit has become already. You survived uncertainty before. You endured heartbreak, disappointment, delays, and confusion without losing yourself completely. Even when your faith felt fragile, I remained beside you, holding together pieces of your life you could not carry alone. Take my hand again now, and stop resisting the deeper trust I am building inside you. The future ahead will require peace that does not depend entirely on visible evidence. It will require confidence rooted in my presence, not temporary circumstances. You are learning that kind of trust. Now, my child, even through the uncomfortable seasons you once wished away, one day you will realize this process strengthened your heart more than immediate answers ever could. My child, there were moments when the silence around your life became so heavy that you started questioning whether I was still near you at all. You prayed and heard nothing back immediately. You searched for signs, direction, comfort, and clarity. Yet many days felt painfully ordinary. The silence stretched longer than you expected, and slowly your heart began carrying a fear you rarely admitted aloud. You wondered whether heaven had moved on without you. You wondered whether your prayers were still reaching me after all this time. Come closer and let me speak gently into that fear. I never forgot you for a single moment. Not during the nights when anxiety kept you awake. Not during the mornings when exhaustion followed you before the day even began. Not during the hidden moments when you smiled outwardly while carrying private pain inside your chest. I was there through all of it, even when my presence felt quiet to you. Silence can feel cruel when your heart desperately wants reassurance. I understand that, but my quietness was never abandonment. There were seasons when I needed you to grow roots deeper than emotional comfort alone. If my voice constantly removed every discomfort, immediately your trust would depend too heavily on visible comfort instead of deeper connection. I wanted you to discover that I remain faithful even during moments when your circumstances refuse to cooperate with your expectations. I know you replay old prayers in your mind, wondering why certain answers seemed delayed. You watched other people celebrate breakthroughs, while your own life still felt unresolved. Comparison made the silence feel even heavier sometimes. But my child, stop measuring my care for you by the speed of visible change. I was still protecting you during the waiting. I was still guiding details behind the scenes. Even closed doors carried my mercy in ways you could not yet recognize. Sit with me honestly for a moment and look back at your journey carefully. You survived seasons that should have broken your spirit completely. Somehow, strength kept appearing exactly when you needed it most. Unexpected help arrived during critical moments. Certain disasters never fully reached you the way they could have. That was not luck. That was my hand remaining over your life quietly while you feared you had been abandoned. Do not allow silence to rewrite the truth about our relationship. My love for you was never dependent on how emotionally close you felt during difficult seasons. I remained present, even when your faith felt fragile. I remained steady, even when your thoughts became crowded with doubt. Stay close to me now, instead of withdrawing emotionally, because the answers took longer than you expected. Invite me back into the places where disappointment hardened your heart quietly. I have not forgotten your prayers, my child. I have not overlooked your tears. Even now, things are unfolding beyond your sight. The silence was never empty. It was carrying preparation, protection, and purpose the entire time. My child, just as I never abandoned you during the silence, I have not abandoned the countless souls still crying out quietly for hope. Tonight I'm using this message to remind people that heaven still sees them, still hears them, and still has purpose prepared for their lives. My child, as this message draws to a close, I want you to know that your response matters more than you realize. If these words have stirred something deep inside your spirit, take a moment right now to like this video, subscribe to the channel, so you never miss the next word I send to strengthen you. Leave a comment below and share what part of this message touched your heart the most. Your comment could be the very confirmation another weary soul needs to keep believing. Share this video with someone who is walking through a silent season just like you. When you like, comment, and share, you become part of the work I am doing through this channel. You help carry hope into places where hearts are tired and faith feels fragile. Do not keep this word only for yourself. Let it flow outward through your simple act of obedience. I am still speaking. I am still calling, and I am still preparing good things for those who trust me. Stay close to me, my child, and let your response today become a light for someone else tomorrow.